Hey, what's up, everybody? In today's bagpipe lesson, we're going to learn to play the 2/4 march, the Barren Rocks of Aden. All right? Great classic little 2/4 march that pretty much every piper learns how to play at some point. All right? Every kind of pipe band at some point plays this tune. All right? So it's a tune that you're definitely going to want to learn how to play as a beginner. Okay? It's also a great tune to play because it's got doublings and throws and quite a few burls in it. Okay? And if you're a beginner piper, which I assume you are if you're watching this video and you need to learn how to do all of those things, you can head over to the Highland Bagpipe Academy, which is highlandbagpipe.com. There you can find a free beginner course, all right, that'll show you how to do all of those things. And there's also a paid course, all right, which brings you all the way from being an absolute beginner up to some pretty advanced things, all right. And there's also a tune book that you can find on that homepage as well that has this tune in it as well. All right. So it has all that stuff. So please head there and check out all that stuff. And now let's dive in and learn how to play the Barren Rocks of Aden. Let's start with the A phrase. Okay, nice and slowly, the first phrase sounds like this. All right. So things we got to watch for are the first F, we got to make sure we hold. The next F, we got to make sure we hold as well. And we got to make sure that we play that F doubling nice and open. All right. Dum, da, 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 dum. All right. Make sure that F doubling is nice and open. After that, we got to throw. All right. So your D throws should just be, just a nice D throw. All right. If you're a beginner, like a real beginner, you still might be playing them nice and open. If you're still playing them like that, it's absolutely fine. And then after that, we just got to make sure that we play our burl right on the beat. All right. Make sure you play your burl on the beat and sort of open. All right. Da da ga dum. There's a bunch of notes in that burl, all right? You want to make sure you hear all of them, all right? All those quick little notes. All right, you want to make sure you hear them all. You don't want them all muffled, okay? All right, so let's try it again. Listen to me one more time when I do it, and maybe listen for all those things. Okay? All right, maybe try it with me this time, all right? We'll do it nice and slowly, all right? I'll count you in. All right, so it'll be 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. Right? Again, 1, 2. All right, that's basically the phrase. Again, make sure you hold those Fs. Again, you can't really hold them too long. Always got make sure you hold those Fs and just make sure that you're playing everything on the beat. All right, not too hard. Now remember, there is an E at the very start of this phrase. That's an introductory note, okay? So if you were putting the introductory note in, it would be more like this. 1, 2. All right, try it again. 1, 2. All right, that introductory note you can put in if you want, or you can leave out. It's up to you. We're practicing, okay? All right, that's the A phrase. Again, practice with a metronome. Slow it right down like we always do. If you're a part of the Highland Bagpipe Academy, play with the interactive sheet music that's in the academy, and let's move on to the B phrase. Okay, this is what that B phrase should sound like, nice and open. Okay, now what things to watch for are we got to make sure we play that first C doubling nice and open. All right, you don't want it to be. All right, you want it to be nice and open. All right, because you're a beginner. Now, I mean, as you advance and you play a little bit more and you're on your pipes and you're playing in parades and in bands and in events and things like that, you won't be playing. All right, you'll be. But when practicing, I want you to open everything way up, all right? So when you actually play it in front of people and stuff, it sounds good, all right? All right, so after we play the C, we gotta make sure that we play the burl on the beat. All right, and you gotta make sure you hold that low A after it. All right, you almost can't hold on to it long enough, all right? You're almost falling off a cliff before you play that E. All right, you want dee dum brum ba dee brum bra. All right, of all the notes in this tune, I really want you to hold that low A as maybe the most, okay? Okay, I want you to try playing that with me a couple times, okay? Nice and slowly and open. 1, 2. Okay, you'll notice when I'm playing this, I left that E at the very end. I tend to do that when just playing over and over again. If there's a really short note at the end of a phrase, I just leave it out for practicing, okay? You can put it in if you want, though. All right? Anyway, that's why I left it out. Try it again. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. Okay. Da dee brum ba dee brum bra. Okay? Not too hard, right? Just make sure you play those burls right on the beat and keep everything nice and open. All right? Okay, that's the B phrase. Let's move on to the C phrase. All right, the C phrase, nice and slowly, should sound like this. All right, so things to watch for. Obviously, that first C doubling, we want to keep nice and open, like the previous phrase. And the burl right on the beat. All right, hold that F. And then the one thing we have to watch for too, obviously you can play those throws really open if you're still doing that too. If you're still doing that, okay? But if you're not and you can play them up to speed, by all means go. Okay? Now, another thing, when we're playing that high G strike, something you gotta watch for is you gotta make sure that it's the high G grace note that falls on the beat, okay? Not the strike, okay? And what I mean is you're going, that the grace note is what is on the beat. All right, the strike actually comes after. A lot of people think it's the strike that comes on the beat in this situation, but it's actually not. It's actually the high G grace note, all right? All right, I was exaggerating that time, but it's just da-dee-bra, grace note on the beat, then a strike, okay? All right, why don't you try playing that with me a couple times, nice and slowly, all right? 1, 2. One, 2. One, 2. All right, that's basically the C phrase. Something a lot of people do, which I don't think is a big deal, but some pipers do, is sometimes they'll accidentally go. All right, they'll just do the tap with their top finger, but in this case, it actually asks for. All right, I want you to do all your fingers down, okay? So try to do it with all your fingers. All right, but if for some reason you accidentally go, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but a lot of other pipers would disagree with me on that. All right, so I would try to make sure that you do get all your fingers down, and when you do, make sure they all come down at the exact same time. Okay. All right. So anyway, that's the C phrase. Let's now move on to the D phrase. All right, now let's give the D phrase a shot. A little bit harder maybe than the earlier phrases, but still not too hard. All right, I'll play it for you nice and slow. 1, 2. Okay, so again, not too hard, but things you gotta watch for. Very similar to things we have to watch for in the other phrases. Gotta hold those F's. All right, the introductory notes. All right, that F and the high G. All right, da da da. That high G is really short. All right, and the F is kind of held. All right, so make sure you hold that F, and make sure you hold the high A that comes after it. All right. All right, and then you cut the next F, and then hold the D. And then, make sure obviously you play your E doubling on the beat, and make sure your burl comes on the beat. And then make sure, make sure all your notes land on the beat, all right? That's basically the trick with this phrase and pretty much every single phrase you'll ever end up playing. Yeah, hold the dots, cut the cuts, and make sure that all your doublings and burls and things are nice and open, basically. Okay, that goes for pretty much every single bagpipe tune. All right. So why don't you try playing that with me? I'm going to leave the introductory notes in, and I'm even going to include the little really quick notes at the end. Okay. But why don't you try playing with me really slowly on the count of 2? All right. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right, that's basically the D phrase. Again, a little bit harder than the earlier phrases, but not too hard, right? Play it real slow with the metronome. Break it down if you need to. All right, remember you can always break things down bar by bar if going phrase by phrase is too hard, right? So if you're having a hard time for some reason with the second bar, you could just go. All right, and you can actually turn that into just a repeat, right? If you wanted to, you could set the metronome on. Tonk, 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 tonk. All right, and just keep playing it over and over and over and over again, all right? That's a good way to really get a bar into your head if you need to, okay? All right, so that's the D phrase. Now let's move on to the E phrase. Okay, the E phrase, nice and slowly, should sound like this. Okay? Things to watch for, make sure you hold that high G before you come down to that C doubling, and make sure that C doubling is nice and open. I was actually teaching a lesson on this tune a couple weeks ago, and I remember the student specifically had a really hard time being able to play that C doubling open. His fingers just, for whatever reason, kept locking up. I don't know if it was because he was going from having all of his top hand fingers off the chanter to bringing them back down and then having to do a doubling or what it was. But he was having a really hard time. So if you're having a hard time with that as well, maybe that's something it's just beginners have a hard time with. But so again, the first bar, you got to really hold that high G. And you got to really open up that C doubling. All right, and then the second bar is not too hard. All right, just got to make sure you play everything on the beat. Okay, so why don't you try playing that with me really nice and slow. 1, 2. Okay, again. 1, 2. Okay, I went up to high A there at the very end because I think that's where the tune goes. You can do that too, or you can just end on the high G. Okay, 1, 2. One, two. Okay, again, not too hard of a phrase. Use all the tricks in the book. Get out your metronome. Break things down bar by bar if you need to, and just hammer out this phrase until you can do it right. Once you can, we'll move on to the next phrase. All right, this F phrase is the last phrase of the tune, and it really shouldn't be too difficult because the first half is basically the same as the first half of the last phrase. All right, the first half of the last phrase is, and the first half of this phrase is, all right, so very similar. All right, and then the second bar is just, all right, which was the last bar of the C phrase, I think. Okay. So it should sound like this. All right, now you got to make sure you really hold that high G. I'm not sure if I held it quite enough there because I was a little caught off guard for some reason, but it needs to be. All right, really make sure you hold that high G. Okay, so first bar, hold the high G, and then make sure you keep that C doubling nice and open. All right, and then you got that E grace out down to the low A. All right, which is a little bit of a challenging move. All right. Something that might be a good idea to do is you can actually sit down with a metronome and just go. All right, and you can slow that way down if you want. You can go. All right, because that's a movement that you see a lot in terms, especially in Strat Spades, you'll see. All right, you see things like that a lot. All right, so it's worth really getting that down to be able to go. Okay, so if you need to, if you're having a hard time, sit down with a metronome and just go. All right, so again, the first bar is just really hold that high G. Dum ba dee dum. Okay, and then the second bar we've already learned is just. All right, you just got to make sure when you play that high G strike that it's the high G that comes on the beat and the strike comes afterwards. Okay. All right. So why don't you try playing that with me a couple times? All right. 1, 2. Again. 1, 2. One more time. 1, 2. Okay. All right. That's the entire tune. All right. Now all you got to do is learn how to play it, put it all together, memorize it, and you got the whole tune, the whole shebang. All right. All right. Again, You can't go wrong learning this tune. It's a great tune. It's a really nice little tune. It's good for working on your burls and everything. It's also a tune that the pipers, play their entire lives. It's they play it in mass bands. Every kind of street level band and grade 5 band, police band, they all kind of play this tune. All right, it's a really really popular little tune. That all pipers are just sort of expected to know. So again, you can't really go wrong learning it. It's a tune I learned 30 years ago at least, and it's still a tune that I know today, and I've just never really ever forgotten it because it got beaten into me so much when I was young from playing it. So learn it, know it. It's an awesome little tune. It's a great one to work on. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you enjoyed this video, please head to highlandbagpipe.com, get the free course that's there, or the free tune book, which has this tune in it, or even better, sign up for the full course. Yeah, I promise you won't regret it. It's a great course. It goes all the way from the very basics of playing the Highland pipes up to some really extreme stuff. Years of material, okay? Awesome course. And please, if you enjoyed this lesson, again, please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, whatever you do on YouTube. I really appreciate it.